Today, we take you to Monmouth Beach, New Jersey, where an 18-year-old's hopeful summer in July 2018 took a devastating turn. In this episode, we'll uncover the heartbreaking truth behind her untimely death and the hidden relationship with a teacher that spiraled into tragedy. Stay with us as we dive into the story of a young life lost and the secrets that led to her unforeseen end. Isabella Izzy Russo was only 18 when her life came to a sudden, tragic end in July 2018. A high school senior at Monmouth Beach High, she was well known in the close-knit community for her bright future. Izzy was not only an outstanding student but also a talented athlete, excelling in both areas. Izzy excelled both in the pool, as a standout swimmer on the school's competitive team, and in the debate room, where she led with quick wit and strong reasoning. Her friends admired her for her determination and relentless work ethic, and despite her fierce competitiveness, she had a kind nature that drew people in. But beneath her polished exterior, Izzy's personal life was far from as perfect as it seemed. She shared a modest two-bedroom home near the beach with her mother. Patricia Russo, her father, Anthony Russo, had passed away 2 years ago in a tragic pool accident, which had occurred while he was intoxicated, and Patricia had been involved. Now Patricia was facing charges of manslaughter and was preparing for trial over his death. The relationship between mother and daughter had always been tense, but the upcoming trial had made things even more difficult. Patricia battled with alcohol addiction and a troubling glue-sniffing habit, which caused her behavior to become unpredictable, with frequent emotional outbursts. In the weeks before her death, friends noticed that Izzy had grown more distant and distracted, withdrawing from others more than usual, though she rarely shared her personal struggles. As the summer went on, Izzy formed an unexpectedly tight bond with her new mentor, Alexandra Green. Although Izzy appreciated Alexandra's guidance, their closeness didn't go unnoticed. Some faculty members and classmates began to whisper about the nature of their relationship, with rumors suggesting it might be more than just professional. The sight of Izzy and Alexandra frequently laughing and talking during lunch only added to the speculation. At the same time, Izzy grappled with the challenges in her personal life, hiding secrets from her friends and family that were on the verge of being revealed. Even amidst the chaos at home, she held on to her ambitions. Her friends remember that just days before her death, she shared on social media her excitement about visiting the Rutgers campus and choosing decorations for her dorm room. Izzy was looking forward to a fresh start, eager to leave the turmoil of her family life behind. Unfortunately, she would never have the opportunity to embark on that new chapter. On July 15, 2018, at approximately 6:30 a.m., David Gomes, a resident of Monmouth Beach, was making his early morning rounds as a delivery driver for a local bakery. The previous night had seen heavy rainfall, leaving the air thick with humidity and puddles dotting the calm streets. David had just pulled up to the White Castle on Ocean Avenue, a favorite late-night hangout for teens in the summer, to drop off a delivery when he stumbled upon a shocking sight. Behind the fast food restaurant, next to a dumpster, he saw what appeared to be a body sprawled on the wet ground. Initially, David thought the figure might be someone who had passed out from a night of partying, but as he approached, he noticed the person wasn't moving. A wave of dread washed over him as he recognized the girl's face, Isabella Izzy Russo, a senior from the local high school. She was still wearing the same outfit from the day before, a pair of jeans and a Rutgers hoodie now soaked from the rain. Her long brown hair clung to her face, and her skin appeared pale and cold. Disturbed by the sight, David hurriedly dialed 911. "I think there's a dead girl behind the White Castle," he told the operator, struggling to maintain his composure. He waited anxiously for the police to arrive, pacing nervously as his hands trembled, trying to process what he had just witnessed. When the first officers from the Monmouth Beach Police Department arrived about 10 minutes later, they quickly cordoned off the area. David was interviewed briefly before being sent home, still reeling from the shock of the discovery. Meanwhile, the police cordoned off the area behind the White Castle, which had not yet opened for the day. A small crowd of curious onlookers began to gather, drawn in by the flashing lights and police tape. Rumors began to circulate rapidly. Some speculated it could have been a drug overdose, while others suggested it might have been a robbery gone awry. At first, it appeared that Izzy might have been the victim of a violent mugging. Her body exhibited signs of a struggle, with faint bruises on her neck. However, as the investigators examined the scene more closely, they started to suspect that foul play was involved. Izzy's belongings, including her phone and wallet, remained with her, eliminating robbery as a motive. The mystery surrounding her death deepened, and the police realized they were facing something far more sinister than an accident. The Monmouth Beach Police responded promptly after David Gomes' 911 call. Officer Mark Jacobs, a 15-year veteran known for his calm demeanor under pressure, was the first to arrive on the scene. He was soon followed by Detective Aaron McNally, the lead investigator for Monmouth Beach's small yet seasoned criminal investigation team. McNally, recognized for his thoroughness and determination in solving cases, immediately began assessing the area behind the White Castle. The area was still drenched from the previous night's rainstorm, with puddles reflecting the early morning sunlight. Izzy Russo's body lay near the dumpster, her face pale and her clothes soaked. Her jeans and Rutgers hoodie, Familiar sights in the small town were stained with dirt, and her hair was matted from the rain. Detective McNally observed faint bruising around Izzy's neck, raising immediate suspicions of strangulation. The scene did not appear to be the aftermath of a robbery gone wrong, as her wallet and phone remained untouched. This wasn't a random act, it felt personal. The crime scene was swiftly cordoned off with yellow police tape as officers worked to keep onlookers and curious bystanders at a distance. The Monmouth Beach Police Department summoned additional resources from the county, including a forensic team to investigate the scene. They began photographing the area, capturing detailed images of Izzy's body and its surroundings. Every footprint and mark was meticulously recorded, and samples of the wet ground were collected for further analysis. As the investigation advanced, Detective McNally started to piece together the initial clues. The forensic team found that the dirt and debris on Izzy's clothing did not match the area behind the White Castle, suggesting that her body had been relocated. This revelation shifted the direction of the investigation. It appeared that Izzy had likely been murdered elsewhere and then transported to this location in an attempt to mislead authorities. A closer examination of her body revealed ligature marks around her neck, indicative of strangulation. Additionally, small scratches on her arms and face suggested that Izzy had fought back against her attacker. The estimated time of death was between 10 p.m. and midnight the previous night, determined by the state of rigor mortis and the external conditions. Armed with this information, the police began canvassing the area for anyone who might have seen or heard anything unusual during that time frame. The investigation shifted to uncovering where Izzy had been killed and why her body had been left behind a fast food restaurant. The first person of interest in the investigation was Patricia Russo, Izzy's mother. At 42, Patricia had a troubled history and was known in Monmouth Beach for her erratic behavior, exacerbated by years of substance abuse, including frequent drunkenness and a troubling addiction to inhalants like glue. At the time of Izzy's death, Patricia was awaiting trial for the manslaughter of her ex-husband, Anthony Russo, Izzy's father. Anthony had died during a violent drunken altercation by the pool, an incident that many in the community believed Patricia had provoked. Her relationship with Izzy had been strained, marked by frequent arguments and periods of tension. When the police arrived to question her, Patricia claimed she had been passed out from inhalants the night Izzy was murdered. She told investigators that she had no memory of the events surrounding the murder and had woken up late the following afternoon, completely unaware that her daughter was missing. This statement raised immediate red flags for Detective McNally, who found Patricia's apparent indifference regarding her daughter's whereabouts highly suspicious. It was highly unusual for a mother not to notice or inquire about her 18-year-old daughter's overnight absence, especially given the family's existing tensions. During the interrogation, Patricia was defensive and inconsistent in her responses. At times, she appeared confused about the timeline of events, while at other moments, she became angry, accusing the police of trying to pin the crime on her. She insisted, slurring her words, that despite their arguments, she loved Izzy and would never harm her. However, her history of violence, struggles with addiction, and tumultuous relationship with Izzy made her a prime suspect. Compounding the suspicion was the fact that Patricia had no clear alibi for the night of the murder. The police learned from neighbors that Patricia and Izzy had been heard arguing earlier that evening, a frequent occurrence in the Russo household. However, no one had seen or heard from Patricia after that. It wasn't until the following morning that she emerged from her home, appearing disoriented and confused, claiming to have blacked out from inhaling glue. The police pressed Patricia for more information, but her answers continued to be evasive. She maintained her story, insisting she was in no condition to commit a crime and claiming that someone else must have harmed Izzy despite their suspicions. The police had no concrete evidence connecting Patricia to Izzy's death at this point, leaving them with more questions than answers. With Patricia's statements raising suspicion but providing little clarity, investigators shifted their focus to other potential suspects in Izzy's life. The second suspect in the case was Alexandra Green, Izzy's high school teacher. At 34, Alexandra had become a prominent figure at Monmouth Beach High School. Alexandra was well liked by students, frequently going out of her way to assist them with personal and academic challenges. However, she had her own secrets. Known as Alexandra Green before transitioning the previous year, she had kept her trans identity concealed from most people to protect her job. New Jersey may have been progressive in some respects, but Alexandra feared backlash from parents and the area's conservative school board if her secret were to be revealed. Additionally, rumors had emerged about an inappropriate sexual relationship between Alexandra and Izzy. Some of Izzy's friends informed the police that the two had grown unusually close in the months leading up to her death. They frequently spent time together outside of school, with Izzy often staying overnight and on weekends at Alexandra's small studio apartment. The two had even traveled to London for a week the previous spring. The unusual closeness of their relationship raised eyebrows, leading investigators to question whether there had been a sexual aspect to their seemingly close teacher-student friendship. When the police brought Alexandra in for questioning, she appeared calm and composed, though a clear sense of nervousness lingered beneath the surface. She explained that her intentions had been purely mentoring, helping Izzy navigate the pressures of her upcoming graduation and college plans. According to Alexandra, Izzy had confided in her about her family struggles, particularly her mother's glue addiction and her father's death. Alexandra denied any romantic involvement, insisting that their relationship was purely professional and not sexual at all. However, as the interview continued, cracks began to appear in her story. Investigators pressed her for details about the nights she and Izzy had spent together. Witnesses reported seeing Izzy's Prius parked outside Alexandra's small studio apartment late at night on multiple occasions. While Alexandra initially denied these claims, she eventually admitted that Izzy had visited her at home, but insisted that nothing inappropriate had ever taken place. She maintained that she was simply offering emotional support. The police remained suspicious. Alexandra's evasiveness regarding the extent of her relationship with Izzy, along with the rumors surrounding them, made her a person of interest. Her fear of being outed as transgender and the potential repercussions of losing her teaching career presented a possible motive for wanting to silence Izzy. Investigators began to wonder if Alexandra's desperation to keep her secret could have led her to take drastic measures. Despite her cooperation, her responses did little to absolve her, prompting the police to keep a close watch on her as they continued their investigation. The third suspect in Izzy Russo's murder was T.J. Carbonell, an 18-year-old athlete at Monmouth Beach High School. T.J. had always been in the spotlight, celebrated for his skills as a football player and his cocky, charismatic personality. With his popularity came a sense of entitlement, and some students described him as overly competitive, not only on the field but also in his romantic pursuits. While T.J. and Izzy had been friendly acquaintances throughout high school, their relationship took a turn in the months leading up to her death. Classmates reported that the two had been spotted arguing on multiple occasions. The hot gossip circulating through the school suggested that T.J. and Izzy were clashing over Alexandra Green, the teacher who had grown notably close to both of them. Some students speculated that T.J. had developed feelings for Alexandra and viewed Izzy as a rival for her attention. When the police questioned T.J., he appeared confident, even slightly arrogant. He acknowledged having had brief encounters with Alexandra but downplayed any serious conflict with Izzy. T.J. referred to their disagreements as typical high school drama, insisting they were just stress-related tensions stemming from the pressures of senior year and graduation. However, he denied that their arguments were connected to Alexandra or any romantic feelings for Izzy. T.J. claimed he was focused on his future, with plans to attend a football camp that summer and enjoy himself. Despite his confident demeanor, the detectives remained skeptical about his story. Witnesses had seen him near Izzy's house the night before her body was discovered, which raised further suspicion. T.J. explained that he had merely been driving by after hanging out with friends at the nearby White Castle, a popular late-night spot for teens in Monmouth Beach. However, his alibi seemed too convenient, and detectives couldn't shake the feeling that he was hiding something. As they dug deeper, they found more inconsistencies in T.J.'s timeline, leading them to wonder if his rivalry with Izzy might have driven him to violence. T.J. claimed he hadn't stopped by Izzy's house or seen her that evening. Throughout the interrogation, he maintained a calm demeanor, though moments of frustration occasionally broke through. He repeatedly insisted that he had nothing to do with Izzy's death, accusing the police of wasting their time by focusing on him. His defensiveness raised further suspicions, especially given the recent arguments between them and the gossip about their rivalry over Alexandra. The detectives noted his reluctance to provide specific details about his whereabouts and contacts that night, leading them to question if his bravado was masking deeper involvement. On that day, forensic analysts processed the samples collected from the crime scene and discovered traces of a unique type of fabric caught under Izzy's fingernails. The fibers matched a distinctive brand of hoodie sold exclusively at a local sports store, which happened to be popular among high school athletes. This revelation led investigators to revisit their interviews with T.J. Carbonell, as he was known to wear that specific brand of clothing. Further investigation revealed that T.J. had purchased a new hoodie just days before Izzy's death, drawing immediate attention. The police quickly sought to obtain surveillance footage from the sports store and any nearby cameras that might have captured T.J.'s movements leading up to the murder. As detectives continued to dig deeper, they also learned from other students that tensions were high between T.J. and Izzy in the weeks before the incident, with several witnesses recalling heated arguments over Alexandra. With this new evidence, the investigation shifted gears, and the pressure mounted on T.J. as the detectives closed in. Determined to uncover the truth behind Izzy Russo's tragic death, Detective Jim McNally, investigating the tension between Izzy and T.J. Carbonell, uncovered a surprising twist. They weren't rivals but were actually in a secret relationship. This finding emerged when the police examined Izzy's phone records and her second Instagram account, commonly referred to as a Finsta there. They discovered intimate messages exchanged between the two. The messages revealed a narrative that contradicted what their classmates believed. TJ and Izzy weren't merely dating, they had stumbled upon a startling secret about Alexandra Green, their high school teacher. The messages uncovered that Izzy and TJ had discovered Alexandra's trans identity, which she had kept hidden after transitioning the previous year. At that time, Alexandra was still presenting as female to the school and had maintained a low profile to avoid potential backlash. In 2018, transgender rights were a contentious topic in many communities, and Alexandra worried she could lose her job if her personal life became public knowledge. The messages between Izzy and TJ unveiled a troubling plan. They intended to use Alexandra's secret as leverage for blackmail. Their conversations grew increasingly brazen, outlining ways to pressure Alexandra into granting them better grades, money, or even sexual favors. Their discussions even included using their separate sexual relationships with Alexandra to secure college recommendation letters. What began as a startling revelation had escalated into a perilous and deceitful plan. Armed with this new information, the police intensified their investigation into Alexandra. They suspected that once Izzy and T.J.'s blackmail plot began, things could have quickly spiraled out of control. The couple was flirting with danger, and it appeared that Alexandra, driven by desperation or anger, might have reacted violently to safeguard her secret. But the critical question lingered. Had Alexandra acted alone, or was there another party involved in Izzy's death? The investigation took a significant turn as detectives delved deeper into Alexandra's activities and behavior leading up to the murder, intent on uncovering the truth. By July 20th, 2018, the detectives were closing in on the individual they believed was responsible for Izzy Russo's murder. The investigation had taken a grim twist, directing their attention squarely toward Alexandra Green, Izzy's former teacher. At this stage, the police had accumulated sufficient evidence to take action. They set their plan to arrest Alexandra for that afternoon. At 3 p.m., under the bright sun of Monmouth Beach, the officers arrived at her apartment. The atmosphere was charged as officers knocked on her door. Alexandra was recognized as a compassionate teacher with a deep connection to her students. Yet beneath her supportive exterior lay a concealed truth about her gender identity, a secret that now appeared to have significant consequences. Upon entering the apartment, the officers found Alexandra seated on her couch, a mix of calmness and anxiety washing over her. Detective McNally introduced himself and explained their visit, revealing they had gathered evidence linking her to Izzy's murder. Alexandra's face went pale as she listened, and she quickly asked for a lawyer. The police readily agreed to her request. While waiting for the lawyer to arrive, Detective McNally took the opportunity to examine Alexandra's apartment, noting the details of her living space. The walls displayed awards for teaching excellence, and a small bookshelf was lined with classic literature, portraying Alexandra as a dedicated educator. Yet the contrast between her polished public image and the troubling circumstances she faced was stark. When her lawyer arrived, the police began the interrogation. Alexandra, though defensive, maintained her innocence, insisting she had no motive to harm Izzy. She claimed to have been at a local coffee shop during the time of the murder. However, police records later revealed no receipts to support her alibi. As the hours wore on, the tension in the room grew. The detectives confronted her with evidence, including text messages and social media exchanges between Izzy and TJ highlighting their plan to blackmail her. They proposed that the blackmail scheme might have driven her to a breaking point. Alexandra's response was a blend of anger and fear. She adamantly denied the allegations but began to sweat and fidget in her seat. By the end of the night, the police had gathered sufficient evidence to arrest Alexandra Green for Izzy Russo's murder. As they placed the handcuffs on her, her expression changed from defiance to disbelief. She struggled to comprehend that this was unfolding in reality. Meanwhile, Izzy's family was heartbroken. They had lost a vibrant young woman who aspired to attend Rutgers University, and now they faced the painful reality that someone close to her was accused of taking her life. The Monmouth Beach community was in shock, desperately seeking answers as news of the arrest circulated through local media and social platforms. The trial of Alexandra Green commenced on December 3, 2018, at the Monmouth County Superior Court. The courtroom was packed with Rutgers community members and Izzy Russo's family, all eager to learn more about the heartbreaking case. Tension hung in the air as everyone awaited the unfolding details of the tragedy. The lead prosecutor, Jennifer Santos, a determined 40-year-old attorney renowned for her tenacity and precision, took center stage. With a solid reputation for successfully handling violent crime cases, she opened her statement by vividly outlining the events leading to Izzy's tragic death. Santos captured the courtroom's attention as she detailed the complex web of relationships and secrets that ultimately culminated in the crime. Santos portrayed Izzy as a talented and aspiring young woman with a promising future ahead of her. She asserted that Alexandra, overwhelmed by jealousy and the fear of her trans identity being revealed, resorted to murder to protect her secret. On the other side of the courtroom was William Shaw, a 38-year-old attorney recognized for his composed and tactical style. Shaw's defense strategy aimed to dismantle the prosecution's narrative, presenting Alexandra not as a perpetrator but as a victim of circumstance, caught in a tangled situation. Shaw contended that Alexandra had no reason to harm Izzy, hinting that the true culprit could very well be Izzy's troubled mother, Patricia. He stressed the absence of direct evidence tying Alexandra to the murder, aiming to instill doubt among the jurors. Throughout the proceedings, Izzy's family occupied the front row, their faces reflecting the deep emotional turmoil they experienced as they grappled with the loss of their daughter and the trial's implications. As the trial unfolded, Izzy's family listened intently to the testimony and scrutinized the evidence presented. The anguish of losing their daughter was palpable, etched on their faces as they were compelled to relive the harrowing details of her final moments within the courtroom. Each piece of evidence felt like a fresh wound, deepening their sorrow as they sought justice for Izzy's tragic end. The trial received extensive media coverage, with local news stations broadcasting updates and social media buzzing with the unfolding story. After several weeks of testimonies, the jury finally began deliberations on December 18th. They carefully examined the evidence, particularly the text messages exchanged between Izzy and TJ, which suggested a plan to blackmail Alexandra. Each detail weighed heavily as the jurors considered the implications of those messages in relation to the case against Alexandra. On December 20th, 2018, the jury returned with a verdict, guilty of second-degree murder. The courtroom was filled with a whirlwind of emotions as the news sank in. Alexandra's family sat in stunned silence, grappling with the reality of the situation, while Izzy's family wept tears of both relief and sorrow, feeling a mix of closure and grief for the vibrant life lost. The air was thick with tension as the impact of the verdict reverberated through everyone present. The judge sentenced Alexandra to 20 years in prison, allowing for the possibility of parole after 10 years. This decision sparked mixed reactions. Many felt the sentence was too lenient for the life she had taken. The trial left a deep scar on the Monmouth Beach community, which struggled to reconcile the loss of a promising young woman with the tragic circumstances surrounding her death. The case became a cautionary tale, prompting discussions about the pressures faced by students and teachers alike, as well as the need for greater understanding and support in addressing sensitive issues like identity and mental health. The friends and family of Izzy faced immense challenges as they dealt with their grief and the intricate details surrounding the case. Ongoing media coverage kept the memory of the tragic summer events alive in the public's mind. Following Alexandra Green's trial, the lives of everyone connected to the case, particularly Alexandra Patricia Russo and TJ Carbonell, were irrevocably altered. Alexandra Green received a 20-year sentence for the second-degree murder of Izzy Russo. Life in prison presented numerous challenges for her. Many inmates viewed her with suspicion, forcing Alexandra to maneuver through a harsh and hostile environment. In her cell, Alexandra spent her days contemplating the decisions that brought her to this point. She engaged in several self-improvement programs, including educational classes and therapy sessions. During interviews with prison officials, she frequently expressed remorse for her actions, striving to come to terms with the consequences of her choices. Her case drew significant media attention, with many speculating about the possibility of her redemption. In a 2021 interview, Alexandra reflected, "I made a terrible mistake that I will have to live with forever." Meanwhile, Patricia Russo, Izzy's mother, faced her own struggles as she coped with the profound loss of her daughter. Patricia's life spiraled into turmoil, marked by addiction and legal issues. She was awaiting trial for the manslaughter of her ex-husband, Izzy's father, when her struggles with substance abuse deepened. Tragically, in 2020, her addiction to glue and other drugs led to a fatal overdose, leaving a painful void in the lives of those who knew her. His once promising future took a drastic turn as he struggled to cope with the loss of Izzy and the turmoil surrounding the case. The pressure and scrutiny from the community weighed heavily on him, leading to a decline in his mental health and performance. TJ found it difficult to focus on his studies and athletic pursuits, and he eventually withdrew from his friends and former teammates. The bright spotlight that had once shone on him faded, leaving him to confront the consequences of a tragedy he never anticipated. Although TJ was exonerated in the murder investigation, the fallout from the scandal lingered, casting a shadow over his life. He graduated from high school but found that the whispers and judgments from the community followed him to college. Enrolling in a local community college, he continued to pursue sports, hoping to reclaim some semblance of his former glory. Despite his efforts to move forward, the emotional scars of Izzy's death and the surrounding drama proved challenging to overcome. TJ struggled to find his footing, grappling with both his past and his future. Despite his achievements, TJ was burdened by guilt regarding Izzy's death and the nature of their relationship. Friends noted that he frequently seemed troubled, haunted by the secrets they had confided in each other. In an effort to confront these feelings and find some peace, TJ sought counseling. The sessions provided him with a space to process his emotions and begin to heal from the trauma of that summer. Though the path to recovery was challenging, he gradually learned to navigate his feelings of loss and regret, striving to honor Izzy's memory in a positive way. As time went on, the tragedy that struck Monmouth Beach in 2018 left lasting scars on the community. Residents mourned Izzy's loss while grappling with the harsh lessons about the necessity of open communication and support. The case became a powerful reminder of how swiftly lives can be altered by violence and hidden truths. In the aftermath, community members began to prioritize discussions around mental health, support systems, and the importance of being vigilant about the challenges facing young people. The hope was that by fostering a more connected and understanding environment, they could prevent similar tragedies in the future.